Ashyrov. I am a student of Oregon State University, Foreign Philology faculty. Now I'm going to show you how to write a paragraph essay. Mhm. This is important for IELTS, TOEFL students, and everybody has to follow the same rules. The paragraph writing is divided into five main steps. First step is an indent first line. It is a main thing of the paragraph writing, and pay attention, but don't do both. If you skip a line, don't indent. Okay, that's the main thing. The second step is the topic sentence. The topic sentence is usually the first sentence of paragraph. It contains a main idea of paragraph. For example, the trip to the national park was a great success for all of students. Is the next step of the paragraph writing is called at least 3 pieces of supporting evidence. Let's talk about supporting evidence. The supporting evidence especially includes the facts, examples, and reasons that support or prove the topic sentence. For example, first, the visitors learned a lot from their guide about the park. The guide informed the group about how the park came to be national park, the year it was named, and how the park's word land was acquired. It is in these examples given about the evidence, and the next step. Let's we go about the next step. The next step is called the concluding sentence. The concluding sentence is summarize the points and states the topic sentence using other words. Let's we give some example about it. Finally, the now well-informed visitors had a chance to ask their guide some questions that were not covered during the tour. And the last step of the paragraph is the transition words. It's the main thing of the writing paragraph. We talk about transition words. And what is a transition words each? Transition words are linking words that improve the flow of the paragraph. Each sentence with supporting evidence and the concluding sentence will begin with transition words. For example, first, second, third, although, however, as a result, in conclusion, finally, then, after, meanwhile, during, and etc. It's clear for you? Okay, let's we talk about something during During some assessments and some examines, we came across to writing 5 paragraph essays. It's very useful for us because 5 paragraph writing essays uh, helps us to improving our writing skills. And I want to give some informations about the how to write paragraph essays. There is given some details. Must all have during the paragraph essays. First step is introduction. The introduction gain the reader's attention with a hook. Some effective hooks include interesting quotes, description of setting, and sensory detail. Provide background information on your topic, for example, the author, the title, a brief summary about the topic. And also, we must to write the thesis statement. A thesis statement is like a roadmap for your audience. After reading it, your audience should have a good understanding of where your paper is going. A good thesis statement for a 5 paragraph essay will address the prompt idea that will make up your paper. The next is has 3 parts, making clear what each body paragraph will be about. The last part is well focused, concise and specific, and it must be that cause of it gives help to improving our 5 paragraph essay writing, and it helps us during SAFER, IELTS and TOEFL and SAT examines. The main body of the 5 paragraph essays is where the ideas that were introduced in the thesis are developed. Each of the 3 body paragraphs supports one of the 3 parts of the thesis statements. During the main body, think of each paragraph has many essays. Each one has a topic sentence, 3 concrete details with evidence to support that sentence, and a clincher like the conclusion. I'm also to give some description about topic sentence. Topic sentence is the usually first sentence of the topic, and it includes a transition word, and it states the main idea and controls the focus of the paragraph, and also it is more general than the concrete details that follow. And conclusion is divided into restate the thesis, go beyond the thesis by adding something worthwhile and creative. You could reach a judgment, endorse or oppose issue, discuss the findings, offer an explanation or insight based on your findings. So, I think it was clear for you, and I have a useful video for you. I think it will be very interesting for you.
I know the video is called How to Speak English Fast, but do you really need to speak English fast? Let me tell you something. Sometimes we think that native speakers speak fast and this is why they sound so natural. In reality, they don't speak fast. They just connect all the words together, and instead of splitting them up, which sounds a little kind of slower, they just put them all together as if one sentence is one big word. They omit some syllables, they add some new sounds, and this is why they sound the way they sound. And sometimes it's hard for us to understand them just because they don't split up words, and we think that they're just speaking too fast. In reality, they're not. Today, I'm gonna teach you this technique. I'm gonna teach you how native speakers do it, so you can do it to sound more native, and so that you understand the mechanics behind kind of faster speaking, so you can understand native speakers. For example, you see a phrase, what do you? For example, in a sentence, what do you do? But Americans would never say it like this, what do you do? They would say, what do you do? What do you do?
What do you do?
So the speed, the pace is kind of the same. It's just connecting everything. What do you do? And if you don't know the way they do it, you're like, what was that? Another phrase, I am going to do some shopping. What Americans would say, they would say, I'm gonna do some shopping. Again, not I'm going to, I'm gonna do. Again, they've connected something, they actually paraphrase it a little.
I'm gonna get some water. Do you want some?
And some Americans would even say, I'm gonna do shopping. This is like the very, very contracted version of it. So what Americans do, they take those smaller words and they pronounce them in a way that is easier for them in daily speech. For example, article the is pronounced like the. What's the weather today? So they don't say what's the weather today. They say they say what's the weather today. So it's the because it's easier.
Oh, what about the weather report?
You sometimes sounds like yeah. Do you want to go for a walk? Again, do you want to go for a walk? Sounds as if you just started learning English. Do you want to go for a walk? Sounds closer to being a native speaker. And another thing that you might have noticed, when we say what do, so we have T at the end of the word what, and we have D at the beginning of the word do, we kind of invent a new sound here. Instead of saying what do you do, we say what you do. So there is a sound ch, which appears in the middle. Again, this is a way to make your speech smoother, and this is what all native speakers do. For example, what you do for a living. What you do for a living.
What you do?
To make this even clearer for you, I'm gonna read a sentence out loud. The first time I read it, I'm gonna read it as a student. The second time I read it, I would try to read it as a native speaker. Let's do it. I am going to go out to Walmart. Do you need anything? I'm gonna go out to Walmart. Do you need anything? Again, I replaced I'm going to with I'm gonna go to Walmart, and I've connected Walmart with do. We have a word that ends with T and we have a word that begins with D. So I'm gonna go to Walmart. Do you need anything? And there is this ch that appeared in the middle. The next word, a little confusing, I know, especially when you hear this first in a native speaker's speech. Something, they say something. I don't know why this appears, it's just the way the language evolves when people speak it, but can you give me something? This is sometimes what native speakers say, which is correct. Don't be confused, it's just the same as something.
Huh?
The next phrase, let me give you something. The Americans would say, let me give you something. So they just omit the letter T and you get let me get you something.
Let me give you something.
In American English, if you have a letter T in the middle of a word, sometimes you pronounce it as D. Letter, letter.
Letter?
Because it's faster, because it's smoother. City, you don't say it. City, city.
City?
It's like DNR, city. Bitte, and it sounds a little British, so in Great Britain they would say still bitte. In American English they would say bitter.
Bitter.
Let me give you some more examples. Bottle, bottle. Butter, butter. Computer, computer. I can't even say it with the T. Computer, computer, computer. Daughter, daughter. 80, 80. 40, 40. Little, little. Settle, settle. 30, 30. You see, this T converts to D all the time. As you noticed, it's even unnatural for me to say little, 30, just because I'm so used to, inserting D instead of T. This would come automatically, not automatically, automatically to you guys when you practice. This is first the way to speak faster. Second, this is the way to speak more naturally. And third, this is an easier way to understand native speakers because you now know how the mechanics work.
Our lesson is over. Thank you for your attention. Goodbye.